he does not seem like a 17-year-old. He's been uploading this series called Found Footage. His most viewed video has 45 million views. But I'm sure the retention on that is just insane.
It's like, jump scare on drugs.
I need to do a movie deal and I have to go back to do homework. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Creator Deep Dive. And this week we have a very interesting story to talk about. Something has been trending. Who are we talking about today?
We are going to the backrooms today.
Yes.
To the dark and moist yellow alleys, monochromatic alleys of the backrooms.
Yes, exactly. Do you like this whole concept of like this horror genre that's there in like the underbelly of the internet, I would say?
Yeah, I really like it because I relate to it.
Do you relate? How do you relate to it?
Yeah. Because, I've played a lot of video games like, Max Payne, where there are, ghettos like this. There are, passages like this where the character is going through first person view. So when I, watched it, my first reaction was to, think of those video games and that
Right.
feeling that you get. I love the dark underbelly of internet.
But let's give a little context. Let's like paint the picture. So, so there's this channel on YouTube called Kane Pixels. It's run by the 17-year-old kid called Kane Parsons. And I think for the past 2 years, he's been uploading this series called Found Footage, which is supposed to be like you find a camera and then it has like this footage of someone being transported to a separate dimension. And it's called a backroom. It's like a room which is endless and it has like these yellow walls. Like the lights are humming and it's extremely scary and eerie. And these are like full length short films, like 10-15 minutes, and they have millions of views. I think his most viewed video has 45 million views, which is massive.
Wow, it's good, yeah. That's a good number.
And at 17 years old, he has been picked up to create a full-length movie by A24 Studios. And for people who don't know A24 Studios, I made a list here. The movies that they worked on and TV shows is Euphoria, The Whale, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Moonlight, The Kill Team, Uncut Gems. There's a documentary on Steph Curry. Their movies have gained a total of 49 Academy Awards, and they were started only in 2012. So like in the past 10 years. So that's like a
amazing.
really big deal. So this guy gets picked up for a movie, and like this just starts a wave of people finding backrooms like us. So have you seen these videos? Have you seen his video?
Yeah, I have seen the videos, and frankly, it feels like people are coming out of those dark alleys. They're coming to the ground finally. It's like a meeting point of the dark side of the internet and the usual side, because it has that feeling of that indie feeling, that ghetto feeling,
Right.
which you get from something that is outside on the fringes. I saw the video. I saw the monsters as well in it. There are creatures. Sorry, not monsters. Very interesting looking. There's this Giga Chad guy was also there. So it was partly funny actually. So that this guy is
that's
running
actually
around.
not okay. So this is another very interesting thing. So the whole concept of backrooms, right? It originates from this chat forum type thing called 4chan. So I've heard about 4chan a lot on Reddit. So 4chan is a forum created like I think around like 20 years ago, which has like a self-destruct feature, and it's totally anonymous.
Interesting.
So at a time, I think in each like you have like a subreddit, so they have like pages. They can only be a set number of threads. So every time there's a new thread added, like an old one gets deleted, and it's fully anonymous. And it's the source for a lot of extremely viral memes, like backrooms, and these trends that like that's where it actually originates, and it like permeates into the rest of the internet. And it's also known for a lot of like extremist like activity.
Content and
That's what makes it so controversial. So
Absolutely.
just for context, like Rick rolling, when people do that, like they say ki, oh, I have the address for someone, or oh, like very clickbaity
What?
thing, and you click on something and it takes you to that video which says like never gonna give you up. That started on 4chan. A majority of the cat memes, like that cat sitting on the keyboard and like there'll be like some text, that started on 4chan. And like a bunch of other memes. Giga Chat started on 4chan, right? So like Backroom started on 4chan. So like it's this thing which seems to be so like obscure and at least I didn't know about it before, but yet so powerful. But yeah, that
Yeah,
was something new
absolutely.
that I learned. I had no idea.
So coming back to the film, which they've just recently announced, I think it's going to be a shit show, man. I
My
just think
man.
they're going to spoil it for everyone
Huh.
because you can't make a film first of all in first person, right? The whole experience of Backrooms is through
It's
first
first
person,
person, yeah.
and Hollywood, whatever nowadays it touches goes to shit. I'm not
That's a
sure.
very interesting
I'm not
take.
looking forward to it.
Okay, I wouldn't entirely agree because I feel like the concept itself, right, it is so different than an actual movie. Because if you think about it, like the video that Kane made, that's about like whatever 15 minutes long, it has like almost zero dialogues. It's just
Yeah,
obviously it's the
nothing.
person saying something, but it has zero dialogue. But I'm sure the retention on that is just insane because
Insane. Yeah,
it's
exactly.
constant suspense. So I feel like there's very little that you can do to mess something like that up because it's fundamentally so like simple.
Yeah, I think that's the thing about it. It's like, jump scare on drugs. Like when it's
Oh my,
dilated,
yeah. Wait, I'll clip
it's
this.
dilated. You're
Jump scare on
you're
drugs.
always, on the edge of your seat, right? So if there is a 15-minute video, you're gonna watch it whole. There's a 10-minute video, anything. But I'm not sure how you're going to, translate it into a film because there are going to be characters, there are
Right.
going to be, camera angles which take you out of the character. I hope they're listening to us and they make it, as authentic as possible. But I feel like it's, more suitable for a video game where I'm playing, I'm,
That's
navigating the
true.
character.
No, that would be, I'm sure it'll be like a great video game franchise. And another thing that I really found interesting about this whole backroom thing is if you just go down his video and look at the comments, right? They are so passionate, like for Kane and for the concept of backroom, which is just so surprising. I never expected that something as obscure as like a horror series will have such die-hard fans.
Yeah, passionate ones. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
one comment. There was a theory, fan theory, which says that these are actual locations. These are physical places run by the government, where government puts some random people to test out the behaviors of those creatures that they are observing. So I'll just add to it. I'll just add my theory to it. Why the government is doing it? Government is doing it because they are highly in debt. All the governments of the world, so they're putting the content out on YouTube to earn some money. That's why it's
That's a great conspiracy theory. Did you know that this whole story, right? Like talking about the fans, like people have built on top of it like one by one. So the yellow rooms that we see, right? That's supposed to be level zero. Like that's where you go
hmm,
into the dimension, that's where you reach. Then there is a level one, level minus one. There's like a level 27 or 29. There are like multiple levels that look different. There's like a
okay.
warehouse, there is a grocery store, like an endless grocery store. There are like office
Wow,
buildings.
what a concept, man.
Yeah, so like it builds on top of each other, and there are like theories that this whole thing was created by a group of scientists. That's like a thing, like it's not just random. This whole dimension was created by scientists and it's like being run by scientists. And I think, if I'm not wrong, Kane has a video exploring that also. That they put someone there and like he ran away or something like that. Which is also so like it's a universe in itself. Like I can totally see like a Marvel-esque way of spinning this off into
No,
multiple series.
Marvel will make it shining. I mean, by the way, that's a good word, shining, because it also reminded me of the film Shining. The carpets, you observe the walls, you're going through that hotel. But yeah, coming back to that, I think and I hope that they don't do a treatment like Marvels, because then it's going to be very glossy, very
No, I
superficial.
mean like the whole universe concept, right? Like having like this one idea and then building around it. And talking about The Shining, the producer of Conjuring, he's the one that's producing this one, The Backrooms.
Yeah, yeah.
The producer of Conjuring and one other movie, and the writer of Westworld.
Hereditary, something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Westworld.
yeah,
Oh,
correct.
Westworld,
Westworld and
nice.
this. So they have like some very heavy hitters.
Then there's hope. Yeah, yeah. But I
Yeah.
hope this guy, this 17-year-old guy, he has some kind of control over,
Yes.
the
So he's not
project.
writing it, but yeah, he's going to be the director.
But that's the worry, right? When you're not writing it, the control begins from there. I think the ideal scenario would have been like he's the writer director.
He's insanely talented, man. Like insane. Like I was listening to some interview and I was just listening to him talk. He does not seem like a 17-year-old. And just imagine the
Hmm.
amount of clout he has, man. Like at 17-year-olds, he has a 2 million subscriber YouTube channel. He has like people going mad over his content. He has like a movie deal at 7, like he was talking about, "Arey yaar, haan, I need to do a movie deal and I have to go back to do homework." And I was like, man, what is that dichotomy? Like, what life are you living?
I think most of the work is again going to be on computers, CGI.
Yes,
What do you
correct.
think the film will look like? Do you think it will look like the Backrooms, or it's going to be a bit more, because there is a certain old feeling, right? Because it's a
Hmm.
found footage thing.
Correct.
Like it's scratchy, it's
Correct.
it's not visible. The faces of the creatures are not visible, whether it's a dog, whether it's, I don't know what it is.
Correct.
So do you think they're going to keep the looks of the Backrooms?
I think they have to, because like that's the appeal, right? Like if they have gotten Kane on, I mean, part of the reason must also be the distribution that he has created, right? Around the series. So if they lose out on that, then they will lose out on potentially the entire, like, or at least a majority of the audience that came for that, right? That came for the feeling that Kane kind of created. And if they lose that, then it doesn't make sense for for them to like create a whole
Yeah.
different thing.
Yeah, but to that I would say, then why do you need a movie at all? I mean, just make the length of the video just extended to 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. People are watching it anyways.
No, that's a good point. But this brings me to something else that I wanted to talk about. So you're like a big movie guy, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel? And we talked about this in I think last week's Thousand Faces newsletter also. Do you feel like YouTube is art, especially given this context of Kane and him making movies and becoming like mainstream?
I'm not sure we can call it art yet, because art has, certain kind of aesthetics. You can actually read into, a particular piece of art. But I don't think you can derive anything other than, basic philosophical meaning out of it, which
Hmm.
applies to all activities that are similar to it, where you're watching something, you're immersed in it. I won't call it art yet, but if they can do something with the film, and they can, create a genre in itself, then of course we have to recognize it as art.
I didn't know they were like found footage as a concept. I
Yeah,
discovered
it's a
this
it's a
through him.
genre. It's a
Okay, I
genre,
didn't know
and
this.
it's a very well explored genre where you get to see interesting stories. Blair Witch
Okay.
Project was something that I watched first. I don't know how they're going to execute this one,
Uh huh.
and it's not that. If it's closer to it, then of course it falls into that genre. But if it's away from it, I don't know what kind of beast
Hmm.
it will be.
What he's been able to achieve at just the very fact that we are talking about it, right? I think that has a lot to say about the potential of YouTube and the potential of creating
Yeah,
content.
potential of YouTube. If you have to make it to the mainstream, YouTube is
Yes.
your conduit.
That's it for today's episode, guys. Definitely go check out Kane's channel. I think it's for people who aren't that well versed with backrooms or the horror genre. I think it's extremely interesting to watch and weirdly gripping. So definitely check out his channel. We'll put like a link in the description. That's it for today's episode. I'll put some other links. If you like this video, do subscribe to our channel. We upload these videos every Sunday. This was a creator deep dive, and we shall see you next week. Peace.